I heard you watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I mean, what's really bizarre is the fact you get no bitches. I mean, I hear you love anime girls, but you can't talk to women. Yeah, well, the good news is you love Hank, so you're not all problematic.
Hello chat, it has been quite a while, but it's final time.
Exiting narrator. El narrador se ha cerrado inesperadamente.
JoJo parts 1 through 3 have been reviewed, and now a bit of time has passed, and I'm ready to yap about parts 4, 5, and 6. What a time to be alive, eh? Now, I will say this again, definitely watch the first part of the video so you can sort of see my stance on the first 3 parts and my expectations of the coming parts. So, right off the bat,
let's go!
Coming from the end of the parts 1 through 3 video, I will say it now. The parts have improved drastically. There's a lot of consistency and not many low points or dragging, well, save for part 4. But besides that, I guess I might as well start this off, shall we? So just like in the video, this is my 7th anime ever. And at the end of this video, or even the next one, depending on if I want to make this a trilogy or not, we'll have a verdict. Now then, time to truly see if minerals are destroyable.
Good morning! おはようございます。森尾町レディオ。今日もお相手は私、あなたの隣人甲斐原田。すがすがしい朝ですね。そんな一日の始まりにふさわしい曲です。今朝の一曲はこちらから。
Oh boy, this is a weird part. Diamond is Unbreakable. It is, spoiler alert, the part I am most mixed on. There are times where it reaches maximum peak unachievable by man, but there are times where it's just... yeah. Now, let me explain my thoughts. Right off the bat, no tomfoolery, this part has incredible highs where it becomes my absolute favorite part overall. But, big but, there's a lot of, well, there's a good portion of where I do think it's straight up not good. Not good is harsh, but definitely not preferable to me, let's say.
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Regardless, let's get a bit into it. It's a big tonal shift compared to the first 3 parts because it takes place in Morio. Very akin to Persona 4's Inaba, small town where everybody knows each other and so on, but with a big mystery lurking underneath. Man, as a Persona 4 enjoyer, I was genuinely surprised that it was very Persona 4 coded. Not to mention the obvious Adachi and Kira comparison. So, safe to say that Yoshikage Kira was the second factor of why I love this part so much. In fact, he carried this part.
私の名はキラヨシカゲ、年齢33歳。自宅は森王町北東部の別荘地帯にあり、結婚はしていない。仕事は亀有チェーン店の会社員で、毎日遅くとも夜8時までには帰宅する。
Well, he carried it alongside Josuke, I would say. I was pleasantly surprised that Josuke ended up being so great despite the first look I saw of him. I didn't like him.
Brother,
But with the backstory of his yee-ass haircut, I kinda respected it. But truly what made me love him was his overall writing. Josuke is definitely up there with Joseph, although Joseph squeaks out a win because it's Joseph. As for Mario, the people there during the first half of the show is all build up and it's just finding a stand user and then finding them. And then most of the time they join you, which I just didn't like. The first half of part 4 felt so off to me. It felt like a Yakuza sub-story, but not in a good way. I can't explain it. I straight up was a bit bored during a lot of the first half. While I did have a chuckle here and there, it was one of those, haha.
Yo, Angelo.
あれねえ、こんな岩あったっけ？
ああ、最初はこんな風じゃなかったけどな。
Regardless, my main issue, despite the pacing, is the cast. Not Josuke, but the others. So let's hop into that. Okuyasu is a lovable idiot that you've seen 17,000 times already. I get it, and I get that he has one of the most broken stands in the series, but he is held back by being a kindergartner IQ equivalent. I get it. But despite that, I really didn't like him much. Probably my least favorite JoJo. I'm really sorry. Zahando is cool though.
東方丈介、お前はこの西村奥安のザ・ハンドが決意。
Koichi. Fuck me, I hate Koichi so much. Oh, I hate his squeaky ass voice explaining about what's happening in the fight. God, he's my least favorite in this part. He's my least favorite character in this whole part. It's so annoying. He is so annoying. But he's saved by Echo's Act 3 being so fucking funny.
Act 3. Okay, master. Let's kill the whole beach.
And I guess his power being interesting. He has his moments, but I just don't like him. Jotaro got nerfed heavily and along the next parts as well, but he does do some stuff and has a bit more personality compared to 3. Same goes with 6, but we'll get there. Also, to expand on that a little bit, Jotaro didn't actually get nerfed when it comes to abilities, so he gains the fucking time stop from Dio. But I feel like he got nerfed mentally because goddamn, Jotaro should not have been struggling with a fucking rat. or the biggest complaint I have that oh my god, might as well mention this. This is unscripted right now, but way in the Red Hot Chili Peppers episode, when Okuyasu speaks with Red Hot Chili Peppers, Jotaro and the gang just calmly walk to him instead of, you know, running. Like, what? Part 3 Jotaro would have done more there, I'm not gonna lie. That pissed me off, but okay. Back to the script. I also forgot to mention Rohan. I think Rohan is great. I get he's a self-insert, but I don't mind. And I think Heaven's Door is one of my favorite Part 4 stands.
Heaven's Door! Remove his ability to come!
As for the overall stance, quality, and design, surprise, surprise, I think they're much better in here than 3. They get progressively better with each part, especially with Part 5. My personal favorite stands from Part 4 are Crazy Diamonds,
Crazy Diamond! Going down!
The Hand,
Okuyasu the Handが決意!
Heaven's Door,
Remove his ability to...
and as for the enemies, Enigma, Iskino,
ただの白い紙だぜ。
and Killer Queen, obviously. Though I will say, Killer Queen's design is not something. It is something I do not particularly like. The ability is cool, but I don't like the cat look. That's the thing. Speaking of Kira,
私の名はキラヨシカゲ。
Kira is someone I'm going to glaze up until the end of the time. You know how in the MGS video, which you should watch, please fucking watch it. I love that video. I said the most impact I had was with MGS2's ending. Well, for the JoJo parts, Kira is the biggest impact. He not only carried the part he's in, but he also is flat out the best villain, not just in JoJo, but definitely among my overall favorite villains of all time. His demeanor, his theme song.
We can't just turn around and go.
all the scenes he's in and the small teasers before he actually gets revealed, it's peak. I love his stand ability when he killed Shigechi. Oh wait, I didn't mention Shigechi. Who cares? I was so amazed. He's just so good. But then the first fight happens. He barely loses but gets away with a new identity and it's back to square one for the gang. It's so good. It's so good. Holy shit, I love it. It's such a tonal shift from McDonald's fast food boredom to literal Kino. I haven't even mentioned any of the openings yet, so I'll mention it at the end. But right now, when the theme changes to Chase and then Great Days, and then Bites the Dust version at the end, it's just solidifying Kira as the GOAT. I love him so much. He and Josuke carry this part from a 7 out of 10 to a 9.5. It's just so good. Him wanting the normal life but doing what he's doing is just so good. Also, he got an erection due to Mona Lisa.
画集で見た時ですね。あれ初めて見た時、なんていうかその下品なんですが、勃起しちゃいましてね。You what?
Finally, the openings and outros. Should have said it immediately, but whatever. First off, Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town is a very good opening. I'd say it's A tier, maybe even S. Better than all of 3's and 1's openings. Chase. Chase is apparently supposed to be one of the openings that people didn't like before, as far as I read online, and I genuinely don't understand why. I think Chase is really fucking good. It's A+. But then, whoo boy, Great Days. Great Days was to me on par with Bloody Stream when I first finished. However, since a lot of time passed and I realized that Great Days actually dethroned it after a while. I can listen to Great Days on loop for an hour, while Bloody Stream I can listen to on loop maybe 5 times. Visually, however, Bloody Stream kinda better, but musically, Great Days is just
perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
And the best part, the Bites the Dust version. Let the voice of love take you higher. As for the outro, it's great. I really like that song. It's not Walk Like an Egyptian or Roundabout, but I'd say it's a solid beat here. So, there we go. Part 4. Part 4 could have been peak fiction, but to me the first half was really bizarre. Had Kira showed up earlier, or had they had deeper stand users, or just a better cast, it would have been good. At its worst, it's a 7 out of 10, maybe even like a 6.5, but at its best, it's a 9.5. So I give it an 8.5, barely edging out Part 3 due to Kira. Without Kira and Josuke, it would probably be on par, if not worse than Part 1. Diamond is Unbreakable was definitely an experience I won't forget. At the bare minimum, even if the first part of it was very slow, once I got to the good stuff, it basically stayed on the good stuff. Now, it's finally time for the part I was most excited for, even before starting the marathon. Golden Wind.
Vocal percussion on a whole nother level, coming from my mind. Vocal percussion on a whole nother level, coming from my mind.
And now we get to Golden Wind. Man oh man, the one I was the most hyped about. And well, did it live up to the hype? This time let's start off with the setting before diving into the openings and so on. It's basically a mafia movie taking place in Italy, really. The entire premise is just slowly working their way up to the boss of Passion and then game ending him so that Giorno and Bucciarati can actually change the system, really. Now then, the openings. Fighting Gold is, in my humble opinion, stuck between B and A tier. Upon first hearing it, I was kinda disappointed, but over time it grew on me, similar to the second one.
Fighting Gold,
Now then, Fighting Gold is great, but the main sauce, the main controversy, lies in the second opening, Trader's Requiem. A few of my IRL friends were excited to hear my thoughts on it, and it was bad. Now, plenty of time has passed, and yes, the opening grew on me. While I think this opening isn't loop-worthy like all of 4's openings or Bloody Stream, I'd put it on the C or B tier. With a big caveat called the Giorno version. The Diavolo interjection is okay, but the Giorno version is genuine cinema. So yes, Trader's Requiem was undoubtedly my least favorite when I first heard it. I have experienced character development by now, and I do place it in the mid-echelon alongside Stand Proud and Sonochino Sadame. Out of the two openings though, I think that Fighting Gold is better. I'll mention the outros at the end of the section, so let's begin with the actual Part 5. So Part 5, as mentioned, definitely lived up to the hype. Now, was I biased? Yes, I was. However, the biggest issue I have with this part, well, I'll mention it shortly. Let's start off with the cast. I appreciated the setting, so the cast had some good potential, starting off with the protag, Giorno Giovanna. To me, Giorno is a great protagonist that could have been the best if he had a bit more personality. Don't get me wrong, he isn't boring. I've read a lot that people think he's boring, and I just disagree. The only issue I have with him is he barely has any comedic moments. I swear even Jonathan had funny moments. Giorno is probably the smartest character in the whole series, and he is dripped out so good. Him being the son of Dio but not really, is so confusing because how the hell does it work? Regardless, I think Giorno is a great protagonist, albeit lesser than Joseph and Josuke. He's basically in the middle. I absolutely love his stand, both the normal and Requiem versions, and, well, I'll mention something regarding his personality though. The first 2 episodes show him basically pulling persuasion and pickpocketing checks on everyone and everything, which shows his wit in that manner. But after Bruno joins, he does feel like he takes a back seat. Although a much, much better version of Jotaro's issue. Now then, Bruno. My GOAT. As of now, writing this script, and since finishing, I had both of my social media accounts profile pics be Bruno. I fucking love this man so much, it's not even homo.
何をやったってしくじるもんなのさ。ゲス野郎はな。アリーベ・デルチ。
He is to me my absolute favorite non-protagonist character. I love his personality, I love his stand, I love his theme, I love his death, and I love his actual death. Genuinely, he beat out Polnareff as non-protagonist favorite. And you know what the thing is? I feel like Bruno might actually be the main protagonist of 5, kind of like how Polnareff was in part 3. Now the others. Mista. Mista is fucking great. Mista took me a bit to take a liking to, but by the end I'd say he's earned it being alive. I love Mista, but I do hate his design, not gonna lie. His stand is cool as well, and genuinely a one of a kind.
Shades on Apple with the glasses, bro say cause he a savage.
Narancia. Oh man, Narancia. I thought Narancia was a girl. Well, certainly got impaled like a girl.
Why'd you say that?
That was too far. Anyways, besides not liking Narancia's design, Narancia is great. I loved Aerosmith. I absolutely loved all of the fights that Aerosmith was in, and genuinely thought that Narancia was a great cast member. However, I heavily disliked the way the death was handled. And by handled, I mean I have no idea what happened, but we'll get to that. Abakio. I think Abakio was an understandable hater with an extremely cool stand, but ultimately he was good enough. I'd say he's middle of the cast's quality. I mean, now we get to the worst two, I would say. Trish and Fugo. Fugo, I've read what the entire gist of him was and why he was canned, why he made that choice. But it still doesn't change the fact that without Purple Haze feedback, and what should I say about it, okay? Even without it, he does nothing and I really don't care about him. He has a cool stand, but it only does what it does once, and that's it. Again, I get why, but it's a waste. And Trish, wasted character, and it's an important character too. The fucking daughter of Diavolo awakens to her persona. Wait, I actually just said persona instead of stand. Holy hell, I'm cooked. Anyways, she awakens and has one solo fight with Notorious B.I.G. and that's it. Never again until the end where she gets shit on by Diavolo and then she pulls a Giorno on him. If she had like 3 more fights, hell 2 more fights, cool. But she feels like a Mary Sue. She's not bad, but she's not great. It's not even good. Overall, I'd say part 5 has the best main cast. Well, actually now that I think of it, Fugo and Trish kinda ruined it. If they were better, then yes, they would be the best cast, but I'm comparing them to the current best cast, which is the Stardust Crusaders. And I think the quality of Bruno, Giorno, Narancia, and Mista don't match up to the Crusaders because they're held back by the Deadbeats. Still, second place I would say, close to peak, just held back by Trish and Fugo. But yes, this part especially feels like it's more about the group themselves rather than just the pro tag. Now, I might as well mention the big bad, Diavolo.
Diavolo, you fucking apple linguine. I have no idea what you are talking about. This is my restaurant. If I want to do my linguine, I want to do my linguine my way, my way. You fucking bitch. You put the linguine with a bag of toast bread. The cost for such an act. Raw spaghetti laser beam. Oregano.
Diavolo is my least favorite thing about Golden Wind.
Shocked gasp, someone feigns questions asked at Parliament.
Like, I'm really sorry. I not only dislike his design, his stand is comically bad and so lazy. And when I first saw it was another time-related stand, I was so pissed because that is such a lazy way to make someone broken. We'll get to Pucci later, don't worry. But the thing is, I don't know if this has a name, so I'll call it expectation syndrome. When you have expectations of something due to its name or something. I think the best example is when I first played Bloodborne and I saw on the wiki there was an area called the Nightmare Frontier. I was expecting it to look way different than what it actually looks like. I was expecting something like Volnir's Arena or some other stuff, but whatever the hell. So yeah, as for King Crimson, I heard about the stand due to the name, and I had a hunch it was going to be like a blood-based stand or something. Do you see my conundrum now? Even still, the time stuff is so lazy. Blood can be overpowered as well. It could be used extremely creatively, but no, we got Epitaph and saves coming, basically. No, actually, we got Epitaph and pressing 15 seconds skip on YouTube. Whatever. Point being, I dislike Diavolo and King Crimson. I think he does his job as being a mob boss well, but subjectively, I think he is the worst villain. He's obsessed with erasing his identity, and let's be real, if he didn't try so hard, he probably would have stayed anonymous. For all the harm he also caused, his death was, well, I would say deserved, but let's be real, no one deserves that.
We are trapped in a loop!
So yeah, Golden Wind. Besides the main cast and villain, there's the side villains, and I'ma be real, I think they are the best side group. So many good fights. The Hitman team is, on their own, I think the best first half of the whole JoJo, even including part 6. Frozone.
Where is my super suit?
And the Grateful Dead guy were my absolute favorites. Oh wait, and Green Day. Holy shit, that guy might be more evil than Dio. Anyhow, as mentioned, the stand fights in this part are just genuine cinema. There's so many great ones. Anything including Aerosmith, Giorno, and Bruno. Bruno's fights, I think, are the pinnacle of choreography. But yes, Golden Wind is incredible to me. It lacks a certain oomph, which truly makes it stand out. To showcase what I mean, part 4 was very mid, right? But Kira, on his own, carries it from being mid to being the best part. Part 5 doesn't really have anything that carries it that hard. And you know why? It's because it barely has any flaws. It's just consistency. There isn't a single point where I was bored. Sure, maybe the talking tongue and shark stand, but that was just mid. There was no rock, paper, scissors stand. Well, there's also the babyface stand, which was weird, but not bad. Part 5 is just extremely fun without any big flaws, unlike 3 and 4. But at the same time, it doesn't change my life like Part 4's second half. You know? I have no idea if I'm making sense to you, but this part is extremely good and fun regardless. The ending, I will say, was a bit of a sour one. I really thought it was sudden. There was no reveal at the end of Mista seeing Bruno die himself, and, you know, Trish didn't do anything. And they brought Polnareff just so he gets bodied by Diavolo and turns into a turtle. Glad he survived, but genuinely not sure why he's there to begin with besides the arrow. Could have just made the arrow show up somewhere, I guess. At least Silver Chariot Requiem is the coolest stand design in the series. Yes, I am dying on this hill. Easily the coolest design. Well, might as well, this is not scripted, but might as well mention what I mean about the ending. What I think about the ending. The whole ending, the last several episodes of the show, I think were great. But I think were the weakest of the parts. Finally, the outros. Seeing Mista get shot by his gun, seeing insanely emotional moments, and then getting hit by a "Every time I close my eyes, I wake up feeling so horny." It's just so stupid. I fucking hated it at the start, but by the end I think it's so bad it's good. Modern Crusaders is a solid one too. Nothing beats Walk Like an Egyptian in my opinion, even Roundabout. Overall, Part 5 was incredible, but lacked life-changing aspects. I think an apt comparison is my MGS Marathon, which you should watch, equivalent of MGS3. Watch the video like I said. MGS3 was without many flaws and was just extremely good, but at the same time it lacked the impact that 2 and Rising had. That's how I feel about Part 5. Finally, I'll mention my favorite stands. Part 5 had an insane roster of great fights with barely any questionable ones. Well, not to say there was none, Talking Head and the Babyface. But the best ones, they're mostly the cast and the mini-villains. Sticky Fingers, Aerosmith, Sex Pistols, Black Sabbath, Green Day, and Oasis are among the best, or my favorite. So yeah, 9 out of 10. Objectively the best part. Diavolo mainly lowers it from being a 10, and I guess Giorno not being funny. But Golden Wind definitely lived up to the hype and even surpassed it.
What the fuck? Bro, chill, bro. Fuck. Bro, chill, bro. Fuck. Yo, what? Bro, chill, bro. Yo, what? Bro, stop doing that, bro. Bro, stop doing that, bro. You shut up, man. Doing that, bro. You shut up. Man, shut up, man. Stop talking. You shut up.
So now we get to the final part. The one I was told was very iffy. Stone Ocean.
I love the kind of woman that will actually just kill me. You know, when I left the house today, I was thinking, damn, I really hope some hot chick paints my brains all over some fucking hallway.
Stone Free. 私はこの石の海から自由になる。聞こえた？ストーンフリーよ。これが名前。この刑務所で上下関係があるというのならそれに従うわ。ただし命令するのは私。今度こそここからそっちへ出すんだ。
Now see, that scene alone was a great first impression of Stone Ocean. It was really good, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So then, Stone Ocean. On the 1st of August I started part 1, and on the 1st of November I finished part 6. It was a 3-month journey to finally get to the final animated part. Let's hop right in. Well, actually no. First, an important thing. Stone Ocean was served in 3 batches. It took a whole year for 38 episodes to drop, and I had the privilege of watching this without having to wait a whole year. Some people didn't. It will not impact the score, fortunately, but I'm saying this is kinda trash.
What are you? An idiot sandwich.
I think a month would have been decent, if they really had to do it. Over the course of 3 months would have been preferable. 1 whole year is laughable. So I hope that Steel Ball Run doesn't get ruined by Netflix like Stone Ocean was harmed. But regardless, I was lucky, so let's get into it for real. Stone Ocean is extremely weird. Bizarre even. I think a good comparison is 3 and 4. Before saying anything deep, this part has the character issues of 4, but without the pacing issues and being too long like 3. What I mean by that is this. Right off the bat, I do actually kind of like the setting. The prison setting was a neat change and opened up some contained things. Not to mention the villain being someone who is a contender from the start of the show, unlike, well, basically every other villain. Kiro shows up the latter half, Diavolo shows up the last third, Dio has minuscule scenes every so often, so the villain this time around, Pucci, actually had consistent presence, be it in the shape of his stand Whitesnake or himself. Now the meat and potatoes. Jolene Cujo, the protagonist of this part, she's really fucking good. Genuinely, I think that she's on par with Joseph and Josuke, and maybe, just maybe even better than them. I'll need a little bit more time to decide, but man, she is so good. Now keep in mind, I'm a horny individual.
Every time I close my eyes, wake up feeling so horny.
But this is, even without the hot woman bias, genuinely think she's got the smarts of Giorno, the funniness of Joseph, the compassion of Josuke, and the stubbornness of Jotaro. Hell, she's even noble like Jonathan at the end with her sacrifice. That's all to say, she even has probably the most underpowered protagonist stand, and yet she uses it to her full extent. I love this woman. Now about her design, bro, she looks so good. green color bias disregarded. I love absolutely everything about her, from her design to her personality to her personalities, and all the way to her character development. Like, again, I think she might actually be the best Jo star, objectively and subjectively. I've seen plenty of people on Reddit, yes I know, agony, plenty of people on Reddit say woman is bad, and lately I've been whole math build, but even still I disagree.
I'm sorry, Mr. Whitaker, I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
I said God help me.
I think Jolene is top 2 protagonists, if not the best. I'll get a bit deeper into Poochie after I go through the cast like last time, but spoiler alert, I do not like the cast. That's what I meant about the part 4 character writing comparison. I think following up Golden Wind, Stone Ocean's main cast besides Jolene and Poochie is not very good. They're not bad, they're just not very memorable. Aramis has a very situational stand that barely does much. Her character on her own is okay, but she has way too little to go off of that I just don't really care. I think she's like a C+, maybe B tier. I'm sorry to Aramis fans, but I just didn't like her. Not just her though, Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters has a lot of fans, I think, and I just can't really see why. Design is okay, the stand is cool, but not utilized well. I mean, after Jolene fights her and wins her over, she just turns into wished-out Mista by shooting water at the enemy. Like what? Why not just, during the fights, why not just transform into her original form, or whatever, the gooey form? Go into stand form and you'll be able to do so much more. Since it's all about Plankton, something that is probably strong. FF is bland, and it's supposed to be a comedic relief character, so I'm kinda baffled. Also, her death was the most dumb thing ever. It was so predictable. Weather Report is someone that isn't actually as bad as the others, due to his importance in the story. His stand, even before fully being revealed, was quite nice, but once his memory comes back, that's really cool. One of the coolest stands ever.
I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon?
His backstory was rather questionable and bad to a certain extent, which is shared with Poochie, but again, I'll get to that in a bit. Then we got Anasui, Anastasia or whatever. So Anasui, I really like Diver Down, it's a cool stand, but like Anasui as a character, the only thing I'll remember of him is him just being horny for Jolene. As a character, he really doesn't do much, which is a shame. I don't dislike him because of his stand and the fact that he's just like me for real. But he's definitely not anything special. Now then, Emporio. Emporio is a character that I, truth be told, didn't give a shit about up until the end. He went through hell, literally everyone died, he was the only survivor, and he went to town on Poochie with Weather Report's stand. That moment and the final episode seeing alternate universe Jolene and the others, that hurt. That was painful as hell. Now, let's move on to the next one. Poochie. Poochie oh Poochie. You're not as good as Ki, but you're definitely up there. It's safe to say that I think that Poochie is the second favorite antagonist for me, dethroning the Pillarman and just being better than Dio himself, and obviously Diavolo.
Spawn die! 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 Spawn die!
Poochie is an absolute gem, and he does what he does because he thinks it's for the greater good, but not just that, he basically succeeds. The only thing he failed at was Emporio being alive, but let's be real, you wouldn't really expect that baseball kid to have that OP stand randomly at the end after resetting the universe. It's genuinely applaudable. The only thing I don't like about Poochie was his motivation and backstory, how he paid the KKK to separate his sister from his biological brother, instead of being, hey, can you break up or something? Or go straight to him and tell him that. Like, sure, he might get exiled from the church and whatnot, but guess what? He won't if no one shares. I feel like Weather Report might have listened and broke up, without any need of racist KKK members to kill the guy that's the same color as them. That was just flat out bad. But Poochie himself, devoting himself to his cause of just making everyone happier with Made in Heaven, you gotta admit there's some good stuff. Regarding his stand, the elephant in the room, I mentioned how Time is lazy and yada yada yada. But Pucci gets a pass because he basically has 3 different stands. First is White Snake being memory discs and stand discs. I think it's pretty good, pretty cool. Sea Moon is where I think he truly shines. Sea Moon controlling gravity, which, let's be real, I think could be a really good final antagonist stand power. Gravity is everywhere, and as showcased it'll almost be invincible. So the fact that Made in Heaven is a time fast forward isn't the end of the world. Again, it kinda sucks, for being a lazy way to make him OP, but also it makes sense for his character and the whole universe resets. While Diavolo, on the other hand, it makes 0 fucking sense. So Kira goes back in time due to Bites the Dust, which also makes sense for the character and the power. But yeah, Pucci was phenomenal. He wasn't as good as, but I do think him being an actual follower and friend of Dio with an actual goal that was more or less achieved and with consistent time in the spotlight, unlike other antagonists. That makes him almost the best. Pucci and Jolene were truly the best parts of Stone Ocean, similar to Diamond is Unbreakable, Josuke and Kira. Now then, the intros and outros, since I almost forgot. Starting with Stone Ocean, I think it's a good intro, really, but it's not goated. I think it's very loopable, but it lacks a bit of oomph. Visually, by the way, it's probably my favorite opening. Holy hell, it's Kino. Overall, B+ tier. It's not up with the other 3 Part 4 openings and, well, on their own, and also Bloody Stream. Now then, before controversy, Distant Dreamer took me a while to appreciate, but by now I think it fits Stone Ocean a good chunk, and it also helps that I like a few of Duffy's songs. As an outro, I'd say it's an A tier. Finally, something that might trigger people, but unlike Trader's Requiem, it didn't grow on me. Heaven's Falling Down, oh boy. It's unfortunately my least favorite JoJo opening. Overall, it's the weakest JoJo opening, but it is far from bad. And I like the Pucci version at least, because of the nostalgia, but I think it doesn't help it that much. Nevertheless, Part 6 openings were a mixed bag, but the outro was great.
Let's be honest, I never cried to music. I would never cry to a song, let's be honest. I am a...
Now, I'll also mention Part 6's weird complaint. There are some great stands in here, but there's also some weird situational ones.
Oh, shit! Alright!
I will say the quality was a bit lowered compared to Golden Wind, but there were more blunders than hits. But overall, Stone Ocean had quite a few great stands. Okay, this is future BGMFarer. I was wrong. After looking into the stands of Part 6, I think they're actually better, if not on par with Part 5's. There's really only a few that were meh, so yeah. I owe you an apology, Part 6. I wasn't familiar with your game. Anyhow, Part 6, that should be it, right? Setting, cast, villain, openings, outros, and stands. I guess to truly finish this section, once again I'll say what I think of the ending. Pucci winning, but losing to Emporia was cinema. And seeing that everyone actually survived, because of that, and they were reborn, it's very bittersweet. I think Part 6's ending is divisive, but overall I loved it. I have no idea how the next parts will be. They're in a new universe, so I'm rather curious. Steel Ball Run will be exciting. So yeah, Part 6 overall rating. I give it an 8 out of 10, much like Stardust Crusaders. Like I said, I think this part doesn't have the bloat like 3 does, but it lacks the compelling writing that the cast from 3 has, and the absolute peak of 4's highs. But Pucci does almost get to those highs, and Jolene Well, just like part 4, it's really just the villain and the protag that carry the part. Overall objective ranking is 8 out of 10, but with Jolene and Poochie, I think it's between an 8.5 and a 9. And that's it. Man, that's actually it, after 3 months. So, now that we have reached the end, I'm in a bit of a conundrum. I'm writing this script, but the thing is, I really wanted to rewatch part 1 after finishing part 6, since I want to see how it truly feels after seeing the evolution of the series. Plus, I mean, it's literally only 9 episodes. I've already decided what the next show will be, but it'll start mid-November, and I figured I got time. So, here's what we'll do. I don't know if this is the right call, but I will attempt it regardless, even if multi-part series are not a good idea for the views. I will make this a trilogy video. We'll stop the video here, I'll rewatch part 1, and I'll showcase my final thoughts on part 1's rewatch, and my overall final thoughts on JoJo. And if it dethroned the other 6 animes I watched. If the video ends up being too short, I'll put a spin on it, maybe rank the JoStars or something. But regardless, this is it for now. I have no idea when this video will be posted. The script was written on the 6th of November. Knowing me, it'll probably be out by the 20th or like late November. And I guess afterwards we'll have a lot of material to go for when it comes to JoJo videos. That's all. Thanks for joining my JoJo journey, and I guess I'll see you all in the actual final part of the series. My final thoughts on JoJo and the rewatch of part 1. See ya, and take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.